There's a box there.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems, and I want to welcome you here this afternoon. Today, we're going to be talking about top mistakes people make when starting a business. I'm going to share with you a brief little video here, so I want everybody to get ready to pay attention to this. I am going to turn off my video so that I don't become any other distraction. I want you to watch this video here as we get started.
It's been said that no job is finished until the paperwork is done. Nowhere is this more true than in the field of healthcare, where the volumes of paperwork are so huge that some medical professionals report spending more time filling out forms than treating patients.
On a day-to-day basis, practicing, I have a ton of paperwork. I have charts that have office notes from patients I see. I have follow-up lab reports, test reports to the right people. So a lot of time is spent not only seeing patients, but doing the paperwork that goes along with that. So probably for every hour I see patients, I'm spending at least 30 minutes worth of paperwork.
Doctors say one of the most tedious and time-consuming tasks for any medical office is dealing with the paperwork from insurance claims.
The complications of trying to do your own billing are greater than anything we do in medicine. It seems like with over 30 different insurance companies that we probably bill from, not even including our uninsured patients, there's absolutely no way. You don't have a chance.
To combat the problem, many medical practices and healthcare facilities are seeking help by outsourcing medical billing.
When medical providers outsource their billing, it makes them and their staff, of course, more efficient. It frees up their time so they can spend more quality time with their patients. And of course, it increases their cash flow, which is what it's all about. And for the patients, of course, the patients are getting to spend more quality time with the doctor and the staff because the doctor and the staff are not having to spend all that time filing the insurance claims and doing the paperwork up front.
Recent mandates by Medicare are already forcing doctors to move to some form of electronic claims processing. But many practices say that dealing with the bureaucracy and constant changes in codes and procedures makes this a daunting task. Outsourcing seems to provide one solution.
The process for the Medicare billing is, with the electronic claims, is very difficult unless you outsource, because to do that in your office takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money to buy the software to do the electronic claims. So you pretty much have to outsource to save yourself money, basically.
From a billing standpoint, I have outsourced my billing. This allows me to not have to provide the overhead of an individual that I would have to pay to do my coding, do my billing, make sure that we're compliant with all of the regulations from Medicare and the other health insurance companies.
With the first wave of baby boomers reaching retirement age, it is predicted that over 70 million seniors will be in need of health care by the year 2030. As a result, the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that medical billing is poised to be one of the next major growth industries.
According to age researcher James Coughlin, he says that the spur of baby boomers will increase over the next few years and generate new technologies and new innovations in the healthcare system. And he also goes on to say that every 7 seconds there is a baby boomer turning 50 years old.
Outsourcing of medical billing to legitimate and reputable firms may make the healthcare industry more efficient, while at the same time provide a unique business opportunity to many entrepreneurs.
Medical billing is a great business to get into right now because in the United States there's over 3 billion medical claims filed every year, $25 billion spent filing those claims. And so for people who are trained properly to go out and actually do that for the doctors, it is a wide open opportunity.
Basically, the reason I chose to get into the medical billing profession is when I decided I wanted a home-based business. I wanted control over my time and my money.
I decided to look for something that was compatible with the skills that I had, and medical billing fit those particular needs. I've been doing medical billing for going on 4 years, and I've been very successful at it. As a matter of fact, I'm successful beyond my wildest dreams. I didn't think I would be where I am today. I didn't start this business with the attitude of becoming big, which I've gotten. I started this business with the attitude of just doing something 2 or 3 days a week. So it's blossomed into something much more than that.
The future of medical billing is all going paperless. which includes both electronic medical records and medical billing. And this is why it's such a great idea to get into medical billing now, because it's so easy to do, and this is the way of the future. Let me tell you a little bit about American Business Systems and the founder of that, and that's Patrick Phillips. He and his wife, over 30 years ago, started American Business Systems. Linda actually began to do medical billing even way before that. And just this year, ABS has turned 28 years old, celebrating 28 years as the nation's largest network of independent medical billers. Patrick is also a renowned author. He's got some books that we're going to be talking about later on in the program, especially that one, How to Reprogram Yourself for Success, and we'll share a little bit about that with you. Folks, what you get here with ABS is more than just medical billing or a medical billing platform. What you're getting is a full service with many different layers of services that you can offer to doctors. As you can see here, anything from coding to audit guard to choice pay, which is some of the ways that you can help the doctors collect, and obviously iClaim and EMRX and even DentaMax. So those that want to venture out and do some dental billing, we actually have that for you as well. But really what makes this tick here is our program that we have for you to use to do your medical billing with, and that is the iClaim EMRX platform. And we're actually going to show you a little bit about that this afternoon. When you become trained here at American Business Systems, you become a certified medical revenue manager. And for those that have been looking, you probably recognize, if you've gone through any of the franchise sites that you've been able to look at, Franchise Dictionary just last month named us one of the top 100 franchises out there. And so we're very proud at doing that. Now, I'm showing this picture to you. You can see here side by side, you see Patrick over here to the left, and down here, Adam. And now you got Patrick and Adam over here. And what I wanted to share with you is that Patrick may be the founder, but Adam Phillips is the CEO now of American Business Systems. And Adam has recently authored an article that goes out every other month, and it's called BC Advantage Magazine. And through there, he was able to write and supply an article called "Marketing to Doctors, Marketing Billing and RCM Services to Doctors During a Pandemic." So, folks, listen, we've been through thick and thin. So now I want to bring in Patrick here. Patrick, why don't you go ahead and join me this afternoon? You probably never thought I was going to get to you this afternoon. We had so much of a great introduction there. So it's good to see you, sir.
Yeah, I love that picture of me and Adam. There's about, 35 years difference between those two pictures, I think. Adam did take over here a couple of years ago as the CEO. And of course, now they just kind of stick me over here in a corner in my office here and put a virtual screen behind me and say, yeah, he's the founder. Yeah. So all I do now, Eric, is just help licensees grow their business. I talked to one the other day that was so excited. She just signed up a 16 provider office. Now imagine 16 doctors, medical providers, in this one medical practice. I don't recommend that people start with that, but you can certainly add that as you grow and as you figure out what you're doing. And she said, I signed a contract with them, did not have to negotiate on the price, whatever. They just took it as is, as I showed them the proposal. And boy, she's bouncing off the wall. I'll try to get an interview with her soon.
That's really, really good. And I know it's encouraging for those that are on the call today, because that's one of the things that we want to be able to talk about is, really, what are the mistakes that people do make? And one of the areas that I know that I want to talk about today, we're just going to jump right on in here. But before I do that, remember everybody that you go to your quick Q&A box, that if there's a question that Patrick and I, some topic that we talk about, and you want to ask a specific question, please type in that question. We'll get to it. And Patrick, one of the things that, as I was kind of building today's topic today on top mistakes people make when starting a business, is casting too wide a net. And I think what happens here, as we'll kind of discuss this, is you try to go after everybody. I mean, obviously, you have been in as an entrepreneur for a long time. I have too. And it seems that we feel like we got to sell everybody because we feel like we got to hurry up and get that business, obviously.
Yes, and that is a mistake that a lot of people make, not in our business, of course, only, but in any new business that people start, sometimes casting too wide a net. In other words, not knowing how to focus in. So what happens is they fear not getting in front of a large enough audience, and so they begin to market to everyone. It's kind of like what I call the shotgun effect. You just go out and just start blasting shotguns. You're gonna hit something, right? Those little beads are gonna hit something eventually, but it can be very expensive and wasted time. So part of our training, of course, as you know, Eric, is to zero in people on the specific specialties that they need to focus on that can make them the most money.
Well, that's what reminded me of the licensee that you just mentioned. She kind of focused in on one area. She really marketed to that little particular kind of a niche where she felt like she was comfortable with. And lo and behold, she got 16 providers out of it. And that's what it takes. It's kind of just, as we can see here, I mean, gosh, we've heard all sort of little cliches and things, it takes, how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And then, how do you climb the mountain? Well, one step at a time. And you're not going to get to the top just by hitting that big home run all of a sudden. You got to get to first base, second base, third base. Sometimes, through that, when you hit that swing, you're going to hit a home run. But, I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of new business owners or entrepreneurs start off with. They feel like if they don't hit the home run right off the top, or they get to the top of the mountain right off the bat, Patrick, first of all, they feel like a failure immediately. Yeah. And then that just deflates, and then obviously it snowballs from there.
Yeah, and then the other thing, of course, is some people don't realize that they don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have a box system. It's called American Business Systems for a reason, because we've come up with a system. And there's some of the boxes, in fact, that we've got illustrated there. There are other services that our licensees, our business owners, once they've become gone through our training and graduated and so forth, they can offer these services if they wish. They're all optional, of course, to any of the doctors and medical providers in their area, including dentists. You'll notice we've added dental billing as well. Right. And we have collection services and compliancy services and automatic, cards that can go out and market for you. There's just lots and lots of stuff that we've added over the last 28 years.
It is, I mean, Patrick, I've been with you nearly over 15 years now. And I remember when I feel like we were just getting started but by the time that was, you guys were already well ahead of the game. But I know that we kind of shied away from dental billing for a long, long time. But over the last couple of years, we felt a little bit more comfortable finding a partnership there that we could really trust. And you brought that in. I think you brought it in at the right time. And that's really how all these other services really do come about.
Yeah, and then talking about not reinventing the wheel, we as a company follow that rule. We don't reinvent the wheel. We're not a technology company, so we're not going to develop all these different platforms and services ourselves. There's companies that are already offering those that will white label those for us, as you can see here, and call them things like a compliancy guard or code writer, quick collect or auto card or choice pay. Those are all white labeled services that are provided by other technology companies that we've partnered with. And so when people join our network by going through our training, they become partners with these other technology partners as well. We introduce them to them. And of course, they have direct access to them and all of their help and support that we have as a company.
And, let me just say this before we move on to the next slide here. And it's so important. The reason why we white label these is for whenever you're marketing these to the doctors, that the doctors can't seem like they can go find them themselves and say, oh, I'll bypass this person here who's trying to do anything. Again, doctors don't have a lot of time to do that, but that's one of the biggest reasons that we do what we do in white labeling these things out here. Well, talking about not reinventing the wheel, there are 8 different ways that a lot of people, we've seen this, Patrick, both you and I, we've seen a lot of people who've even come on board with us, and we've told them, don't reinvent the wheel, but they'll go and they'll try to do something different in marketing or with demos or contracts or proposals.
Yeah. I remember interviewing one of our licensees here. This has been a few months back, so I've even forgotten who exactly this was. But all of our interviews, by the way, are out there on our YouTube channel, folks, which you'll be able to find pretty easily. It's under YABS. That's youtube.com/YABS. Anyway, when you see this interview with this guy, it was hilarious because he was saying, Patrick, he said, I called your support people up after about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and I hadn't gotten a client yet. And I kept wondering, what am I doing wrong? Well, this guy had a background in, you guess what, Eric, sales
and marketing. Yeah.
And so he thought he knew exactly what he was doing, and he was trying things that worked in his other field, but it didn't work in this one because marketing to doctors is different, isn't it?
It is so different, and now it's really different since the pandemic too. So you really got to, what we say here in the middle, stay the course, keep on the path. Whatever we tell you to do, just do what we tell you to do, and then hang in there. So let's first of all talk about the marketing. Now, Patrick, you mentioned the marketing. Kind of share with us a little bit about the marketing and what we're able and capable of doing, and why people need to kind of stay on course with the marketing.
Well, we just are actually, these are great marketing tools that you're looking at here, folks, that we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing on our own to make them look like they're all a part of one complete integrated system. So even though you don't have to offer any of these different services, well, you have to do medical billing at least, I guess, but none of the others, you don't have to offer them. That way, it doesn't matter what you offer or don't offer. The marketing materials all look like you are a part of a large organization, which you are. It's not a franchise. We don't have royalties. We don't have territories. Lots of advantages to licensing something like this, like we do. But the point is, it makes you look like you're much larger than you are. There's flyers, there's postcards that you see illustrated here. We have books, we have all kinds of tools that we've developed, but we're just kind of showing you here. You get over 2,000 pieces of marketing material right initially shipped to you. And then if you run out, you just reorder them through our printer, which just sells it to you at their printing cost.
Yeah, and that's one of those areas you don't want to reinvent. You don't want to go say, well, I really don't like the ABS's flyers or the postcards. And then you think that, gosh, I'm going to go change it. I'm going to kind of change up the logos or the color schemes and everything. Folks, everything's been pre-planned and actually looked through by several different marketing companies of why we do what we do. So you got to stick to what we have here. Don't go changing anything else up like that. That's one of those areas. Obviously, training. Patrick, I know we're going to talk a little bit about training a little bit more later on, but kind of talk about the training here and how that's got to stay right where it is as well.
Yeah, towards the end of 2019, right before the pandemic hit in early 2020, we decided to go completely virtual on our training. We weren't doing it live down here at a hotel. We'd have people fly down for a week, Eric, and stay in the hotel. And
right,
it's a lot of fun, of course, as an event. But we knew that was going to work long term, and so there's that box. It went away. Anyway, so what we decided to do is just go completely virtual, and now you get to get trained by one of our instructors, and it's all live, folks. It's just like this is live today, right here. This is, in fact, let me show you how live this is. We got a cold front coming, and as you can see, I've got my own little hat here ready to. Well, that doesn't show up too good on that virtual background, does it?
Yeah, I can see it a little bit. Boy, that's live.
But the point is, it's live, and our training is one-on-one with a certified instructor. This is somebody who's actually running this business themselves, and they also have been trained, of course, and gone through our intensive training on how to train. In fact, one of our lead instructors has been training now with us for over 5 years. So Eric, right, we've got this down, and I love it because they can interact with that instructor all they want, one-on-one, just like you and I are interacting right now.
Exactly. The next thing is support. And Patrick, I was fortunate enough to take a couple of brand new screenshots of our support site.
Yes.
And that's one of the things, again, you want to stay on. And we're going to talk a little bit more about support here in a moment. But these are the things that we're telling you to stay on course. Now you can see here barely, I don't know if you can see that, but January the 28th, 2022, we just had a webinar for our licensees. These are updated all the time. I'm telling you, folks, this is the best way for you to continue to keep getting your support and everything else that you're going to need. Here in just a moment, we're going to show you that a lot of people try to do things too much by themselves. Basically, you got a whole team and a whole support team behind you to make sure that you are successful. So don't venture out too far of, again, kind of staying in path. But Patrick, this is great because if people haven't seen it already, go back to our website. We've got a brand new, fresh look on our website, and that is also transferred over into our support site as well.
Yeah, we did the entire thing. In fact, the website's at the bottom of the screen there, folks. That's probably where you first found us, or if you haven't seen it, you need to go look at it at least. absystems.com, and that was just released today as well, Eric. So that's all refreshed and brand new stuff there too. Right. So anyway, the point is, folks, that this company, even though we've been around for 28 years, we still continue to upgrade and change and keep up with the times, because we know this is like any other business that's tied to government rules and regulations. It's subject to change at any moment.
Right. Exactly. So another area that we don't want you to veer off anything that we've done and got already booked and cooked for you, so to say, because again, remember what Patrick said, this is a system, and that's the proposals. The proposals are written. They're already written out. They're in a kind of an outline format. And whenever you start working directly with support here at AB Systems, then what's going to happen is that support individual is going to help and coach you along the way of what you need to do in these proposals. Patrick, and I mean, gosh, you really do have everything for what everybody needs.
Yeah, well, we knew at one point, even though we show these folks how to get the information out of the doctor's office or office manager about what the doctor is currently doing, we need to put that in a way, in some sort of document that's presentable to the doctor that says, okay, here's what you're doing now. Here's what we suggest that we can do for you. That's what this is. And these proposals can be, 15, 20 pages long. Right. It just depends on what all the licensee is actually offering to the doctor, whether they're offering all those other ancillary services or not. So you've got a nice presentation folder that you see there on the right there. It's very generic. It opens up, as you can see right above it there, and shows the inserts that you can put all the things inside, including your business card inside there. It's a wonderful professional way to make a proposal, and we'll go over that with you. Each doctor that you interview, we can go over this with you and then help you create that proposal so that when you go back to the doctor, they're like wow.
Absolutely. And then the coaching. Now, again, this is one of those other areas that we're going to kind of touch on a little bit later, but Patrick, you use actually licensees to help other licensees. Kind of share how that really works.
Yeah, we in the past we had some licensees ask us if they could get some guidance maybe from somebody else who's actually in the business. See, American Business Systems, we don't do medical billing for doctor. We're not in competition with you. Check with any other companies that you're talking to, by the way. That's an important question to ask them.
Right.
Are you competing with me in this industry? Well, we're not, but we do have licensees who've been around for a while and who would love to help you. So we started asking different licensees, some of these people that you see right here on the screen, hey, would you mind taking a phone call from a new licensee who's trying to get started? They have some questions. They want to hear from somebody who's already out there doing the business. And so that's what they do. Now, we don't just ask them to do that as a favor to us as a company. We pay them as we should as coaches. Right. So if you somewhere down the line get involved in our business and are successful in it and want to do coaching, we'll offer that same position to you. Would you like to be an ABS coach? And if you do, then we let you bill us for your time that you spend with people trying to get them as successful as you are. And folks, it is a hoot. We love to see what some of these licensees have done for some of the new people.
You bet. And folks, remember, we're talking about top mistakes that people make when starting a business. And if you don't have these elements that we're talking about here, with whatever franchise or whatever business opportunity that you're going to be a part of, you're already going to have some trouble kind of getting some things started here. And then demos. Patrick, talk about demos and the importance of what ABS does for the licensees through these demonstrations.
Yeah, so all of these things, just like Eric just pointed out, folks, are mistakes that can be made in starting out with business. Well, one of the mistakes is not having somebody that can coach you.
Right.
One of the mistakes is not having somebody at the company who's on your side and acts like they're a part of your team, which, I mean, we
Right.
are, but we have professional people who have been trained to demonstrate our platform online to your prospective doctors. That's right. We do the demos, showing the doctor all about the system, answering all their questions. You're on there, of course, at the same time, just like you're on this webinar today. You're listening in. You're able to comment if you wish. This is something that we do for you folks because, again, behind the scenes, we make a few pennies on all the transactions that go through our system. So we want new doctors to sign up. And Eric, I think we're still at about 50% of all the doctors that allow us to do a demo for them of the system. They are signing up with our licensees, about 50% of them. That's unheard of.
Of course. Yep, exactly. And then tools, Patrick, the tools that are used for our licensees, again, is one of those areas we try to say to stay on course. I know that, Patrick, I think you shared in a webinar not too long ago of one of our licensees that actually took what we said at heart and as the gospel to go say, yes, this is what I'm going to do. If ABS told me to do it, I'm going to do it. And that is to take these books and utilize these books, and out of passing out these books for, building his market and whatever else he was doing, he got 3 doctors out of that. He gave out 3 books, got 3 doctors.
Yeah, it's incredible what these doctors who get these books, they're very impressed, of course, because it's written by a doctor. I mean, I'm one of the authors, but Dr. Vicki Ragnar, as you can see, is the author there as well, along with me. But look right below that, and you'll see that you can put your name in the book as having written the foreword. Now, we've got a very generic foreword. You'll see when you read it that it'd be easy to just stick anybody's name on it. But the point is that it gives you the credibility that you need. This is huge credibility advantage over any of your competition, folks. There's your name right there on the title page. It's on at the end of the forward. There is your contact information, your name, company name, web address, phone number. All of that can be put right there in the book. So these make wonderful marketing tools. Now, this book is available on Amazon. You can go check it right now. The New Thriving Medical Practice. It's I think $24.95. At least that's what we had out there initially when we stuck it out there. But the point is that you don't have to buy this book at $24.95. We can reprint these as needed. Now you get a supply of them with your package, but when you run out, you can reorder some, and they're only about $4 a piece. Eric, that's unheard of for a 200-page paperback book. But we can print that with their name on the cover for about $4. Yeah,
that's amazing. And I tell you, that'll be the best $4 that you'll spend, especially when you're trying to get what you need to do to build your business.
Yeah, I call this it's an expensive business card, but
yes,
man, it can bring a lot of business to you.
Absolutely. And then the contracts, again, you can see here, folks, Patrick and I had just gone through about 8 different things that we say, don't go reinvent the wheel on this. Obviously, if you want your personal attorney to look over the service agreement contract, obviously do that. But this has been run through by several different attorneys and CPAs. And gosh, Patrick, some of the folks that have become part of ABS, they were attorneys or CPAs or it's had some type of legal background. They've read it. Yep. And none of this gets changed. That's what we're trying to really make a point here, is that some of the mistakes that people make is whether it's with us here at ABS or with another company, people try to tweak what that company has done. Well, the reason that you've gone to them or even to us is because we've got a system. And I think, like with anything else, if you just stay the course, whatever you might be looking at as starting a business, stay the course of what you're doing. Here at ABS, we've got every single step ready for you.
Yeah, there is no reason to reinvent the wheel, even when it comes to contracts. In other words, we have not just these service agreements, But we must have, Eric, we must have 36 different legal documents that are out there that we've created and paid
Correct.
for to make sure that they are exactly what they need to get started with. So again, another mistake would be to start with a company that does not have all of that worked out for you already.
Correct. Folks, we're at the bottom of the hour. If you can't believe it, we've already gone 33 minutes into this webinar so far. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask us. We're going to move on with some of these other topics. And one of these topics, we kind of put it this way: you're trying to do everything yourself. This is so important, especially, Patrick. I'm sure you remember the old days whenever you were doing some entrepreneurial, trying to kick some things off, how you wore yourself out trying to do everything yourself.
Yeah, you've got to learn to allocate that to other people. Well, we have those people already. You have a huge team of people behind you here at ABS, folks. We have over 100 support people from coast to coast that can help our licensees. And so when we say we have the team to back you up, you don't have to worry about that. There's an actual shot of one of our support centers. Eric and I took that when we were out in California, of people that are there just to support our licensees, helping them to get up and running, helping them with any questions or challenges that they have. Folks, we've put a lot of time and money into the support end because we know that that's where we can help you to be successful.
Exactly. And the other is, again, the licensees themselves. But I know probably a few folks that are on the webinar today are probably thinking, now, Patrick, aren't some of these people, maybe they might live by, in my same zip code, maybe even my same state. Aren't they going to be kind of like my own competition here?
Well, that would be true if we didn't have as huge a market as we have. Eric, here in the DFW area, for example, I bet we have a dozen licensees maybe out there still trying, building their business. Some people get to a point where they have enough clients, they don't continue marketing because there's no need to. They've got plenty of business. But for those who are, we never have any of those contact us here at our home office and say, look, I've run into another one of your licensees, that's out there. It just doesn't happen, Eric. There are thousands and thousands of medical providers in the United States, almost 1 million. And so it gives you plenty of people to go talk to out there. Besides, these people don't look at you as any competition whatsoever. In fact, they would probably look at you as a partner and probably call you up and say, let's get together and have some coffee.
Absolutely. And you can do the same. I mean, isn't that the best thing to be able to do, is be able to call somebody here at ABS? And again, we've already said that part of that is they're kind of like your coaching staff. And so we will partner you up with the right person, especially if you're looking at trying to do some billing, let's say for a cardiologist or for a podiatrist, and you want us to be able to kind of partner you with somebody that's already doing that. Well, of course, that's what ABS has. Let's see, it looks like Anita says, I'm in the DFW area and there is a lot of doctor offices that I have found in doing my research. That is true. There are a ton of doctors' offices. And what you're going to find here, remember, folks, some doctors left private practice, they went and became employees of hospitals or some bigger systems.
Yeah.
And then they've got out of that and gone back into private practice.
That's right.
Then you got new doctors that have come on board. Some doctors have partnered together and then they've made a group. This industry is always moving and shifting, Patrick.
Yeah, Sabrina made a note there too. She says new doctors are graduating every year. The market is endless.
Absolutely. Really, the market is truly endless. So we appreciate everybody that's kind of even making some comments here from the panel here. But thank you so very much. We appreciate that because really, that's really what it's all about. Now, another thing that people have mistakes on when starting the business is not really separating yourself from the competition. And what I mean by that is, if anybody that's listening to us today, you could go get a pull off the shelf kind of medical billing platform and go out there and just go start doing your medical billing. But it's not going to have all the components that ABS has. I promise you that. And so that's what we're talking about, Patrick. ABS has a complete system whenever it comes down to medical billing.
Yeah, let's start over there in the bottom right, for example, folks. That's a patient portal. We don't talk about that a lot, but you probably use one now with your current medical provider. We have one that's just awesome. It's state of the art. It is one of the best ones that are out there. It tracks everything about the patient, appointments and prescriptions and everything that you need. But it also allows the patient to see the doctor on a virtual basis. We have virtual visits built right into the patient portal. So that's the beginning of that system that you saw there on the screen.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
I'm sorry, I was just going to go back to that chart that had, there we go. Well, for example, we start with the patient portal because that's where patients would start. Whatever they put in, of course, is then available to you and the doctor and their staff to see. And so we have electronic medical records that the doctor can use on their iPad while they're seeing the patient. We have a built-in iClaim, of course, that's the billing system there. And of course, EMRX is the actual electronic medical record system.
Absolutely. And folks, again, just think about all of those three components that we've said so far. But what, again, kind of separates us from everybody else out there, all the other billing systems, EMR systems out there, whenever it finally just gets down to processing a claim, you have to connect yourself to a clearinghouse. Now, some people will say it's probably best that you can go choose your own clearinghouse, and there may be some advantages to that, but we have not been able to find that advantage. Our advantage is that the clearinghouse is actually inside of our system, inside of our billing system. And some of you may be asking, what in the world is a clearinghouse? Well, as you can see here, a clearinghouse basically acts like a direct portal to the insurance companies or the payers. It catches the errors, the first part of those, and it'll prompt you if you need to make any corrections. But again, this provides you a very unique difference in the marketplace than any other billing service because it helps you to lower rejections and expedite reimbursements that you can't get with a third-party clearinghouse. Let me kind of show this to you in this scenario. So Patrick and I have kind of pulled all of this together. As Patrick said, it kind of starts up over here on that left-hand corner for the patients, and it works its way through here. Patrick, I mean, if you're a patient, you get to log directly in there and put in all your information, and now it says, okay, come see the doctor, and you're ready to go see the doctor right there. And then the doctor sees you. And then when the doctor gets through seeing you, it goes into the iClaim system. Why don't you kind of take it from there and kind of show how everything else works here?
Yeah, so normally in most billing systems, once the claim has been submitted, it goes to this third-party clearinghouse that we're talking about. That's just a company that's been set up that actually does the clearing of the claims, the scrubbing, making sure that they're clean, making sure that they're in the right format for each one of the insurance companies because they all want to see it a little differently. And so that clearinghouse now, it's in their hands. They take it and then go to send it to the insurance company, and the insurance company still can reject it if they wish, if they find something that they don't like about it. So they'll send it back to the clearinghouse. The clearinghouse then has to send it back to you in your system, and you're just dealing with this back and forth all the time. Ours is built into the system, so we've kind of tried to illustrate that here on this screen. It's not really got a picture of the building, but that clearinghouse is in our system. And then those claims are sent straight on to the insurance companies without you having to, do a thing. When it goes from the clearinghouse to the insurance companies, it's gone. It's cleared at that point.
Right.
Exactly. Eric, that's why we have less than 2% rejection on our claims that are sent in because our clearinghouse is built in. Other systems have up to 20 to 30%.
Right. It can be. Absolutely. So again, let me say this to you. If you haven't seen this in action, get back with the representative you're working with here at ABS, and then they will show you and give you a demo of what Patrick and I have just been talking with you about. But remember, people that make mistakes are not separating themselves from for the competition. So you've got to make sure that you get that done. Launching without a plan, Patrick. I mean, if there is something that will stop a business as quickly as anything, that you just don't have a plan, and that will wreck it. And it starts with this. Some people, even maybe people that are on the call today, might think, well, what if I go do a little pre-marketing, Patrick? Let me see if this thing's going to work out for me. What do you say to that?
I laugh because we've heard that so many times that it's just incredible. People think, well, why don't I just go talk to some of the doctors that I know, in my area and see if this sounds like it's a good idea for them. Well, they may be thrilled with the billing that's being done by their own staff, or maybe they've already outsourced it to somebody else. That's not a good way to figure this out. And besides, you're the person that the doctor has seen naked. Yeah, so you don't want to talk to your doctor about this until we show you a very specific way to do that. Because, well, what will happen is, like, as Eric's illustrated, you'll burn your best leads.
Yes. Yeah. You could burn your best leads. You may have a doctor that says, oh, well, great. Yeah. You know what? I was looking for a medical biller just this week. Can you do XYZ, or can you do ABC or LMNOP? And you're going to go, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. You can see here that if you try to go pre-market or try to do anything like that, that's launching without a plan. That's what we're talking about here, folks.
Right.
And so what you need to understand is that we're going to give you a plan. We're going to give you a plan from start to finish. And part of that plan is going through our training to know what it means to do claim preparations, and then do the submissions, and then do claim management, and then how to do the reporting. That's part of all the plan of what you need to make sure that you understand before you get out there and then not know what to do. And then all of the acronyms of CMS and CPTs and ICDs and all of those things like that, if you don't have that's part of your vernacular already, you're really going to get caught, not in a good situation. I'd put it that way.
Yeah, so that again, that's part of our modules, folks. We have 10 modules, training modules that you'll start with. Each one's about an hour and a half long. So you get about 15 hours of initial training that you'll go through with your private one-on-one instructor. However, Eric, on that licensee support site that you showed earlier, we probably have over 100 hours of additional training, don't we? So there's always something new to learn in this industry, and we're coming out with new webinars, 1 or 2 a month for our licensees. So we keep people up to speed on this stuff. They have to stay up to speed on it. Hey, it's a great question here from Sabrina. Can I address that?
Yes, please. Go right ahead.
I just jumped on. I was on a meeting with one of your ABS licensees in Florida. I guess that's where she lives. She says, do you think it's a good idea to subcontract some work when you're getting started until you get comfortable with the billing? I would think if we make an error, it can cost the doctor more money. Well, you certainly have that option. Folks, that's what we meant earlier by saying you don't have to do all this on your own. You have a team of people, including our licensees from coast to coast, that if you need help with billing on a particular client, maybe it's your first one, maybe it's one that you just haven't done billing for that specialty yet, you can outsource that to one of our licensees and split some sort of profits on that with them until you're ready to take that over. Yeah, so it's a perfect illustration as to why you need to be a part of our network.
Absolutely. Patrick, and she says, thank you. Absolutely. And Sabrina, thank you. We appreciate that. Patrick, we're kind of getting to the close of this. We got about 15 more minutes here left. And I want to kind of talk about the last mistake that a lot of people do when starting a business, and that is their own fear of failure. Now, and the reason I want to kind of talk about this and let you kind of share about this a little bit, because when you first started off, you had failures and you really kind of found out that it came from a lot of your fears. And so what you ended up doing to conquer that fear, you just wrote a book about it.
Yeah, I documented what I went through as an individual, trying to figure out, why I had not been so successful in life. Eric, I was 45 years old before we started this business. People think that Linda and I had been doing this for 28 years. And so, we must have been wealthy way back, but we didn't start making money until I was 45 years old.
Right.
To speak of. And that's because I did have this negative programming from my father before he left town when I was 12 years old. Never saw the guy again, but man, he left some real bad stuff up here in my head. So I had to clear that garbage out, put some new stuff in. I figured out how to do that with the help of Dr. Shad Helmstetter, who wrote the foreword to my book there. And I share this book, of course, with our licensees. I'll tell you what, Eric, why don't we do this? Let's offer this book electronically, at least, to everybody on the webinar today for just showing up. You can have
Very
a copy
good.
of this book. Just write back to the person who invited you to this webinar. We call it your ABS rep. We'll give you some phone numbers and email addresses
Oh,
here
that's
in just a
awesome.
second. But
Thank
you can
you,
just
Patrick.
what's that?
I was saying thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, some of the things that you talk about here is, and a matter of fact, Sabrina just said thank you, and Anita just said, "Oh, wow, thank you for that. That's awesome." But I pulled out a couple of little things here out of your book, and one of them is fear of failure undermines our ability to succeed, and you were kind of touching on that just a moment ago.
Yeah, and what people don't realize who haven't tried some things and failed at them yet, they don't realize that failure can be a stepping stone, though, to success. It's the thing
Right.
that can help you realize what you did wrong can be done a different way. And so that's why we tell people, don't try to reinvent the wheel, follow our system, and you don't have to worry about that failure doing things to you. We have this massive negative voice that's very very loud and unruly, that's up here in our head. There's a good
Yes.
illustration of it. And that negative voice is always there telling us, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not good looking enough. There's lots of reasons why, our head, our brain is telling us that we can't be successful. Well, there's a way to erase that. And my book will help people with that.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. Again, everybody's heard it before. You know what? And let me kind of go back and just, whenever I first met you, Patrick, and if anybody's ever been able to meet Patrick, he's a good tall man. And when I first met him was, just great, carried a big old presence, and I thought, gosh, how could I even be like him? But what he was saying, it's not your height or your looks or whatever else that you are, it's who you are inside. And I know it sounds so cliche-ish, but folks, it really is, because you can be your own worst enemies. And if you don't get this out of your head that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not capable enough to succeed, then you're going to fail. Whether it's medical billing and everything else that ABS has here to get you started, because plenty of people, Patrick, we've known that have come in, you've given them everything that they need to succeed, and it's this is the part where they have probably the biggest hurdle of getting over, is what they're telling themselves in their own heads.
Yeah, and that's why this book has been such a tremendous help, I think, to a lot of our licensees. We include it with every
Yes.
one of our packages when we send them out, because we want them to realize that we're not just here to support you on the details of this business. We want to help you with what's going on inside your head. That sometimes is more important than what's going on the outside.
Absolutely. So, folks, what we did is we just kind of skimmed the surface of things that people do, or top mistakes that people end up doing when they try to start their own business. And hopefully you have found this webinar to be very, very helpful for you. Before we start to close out, I want to again remind anybody, if you got any last minute questions, now's the time to type those in here. We only have about 9 more minutes left. But Patrick, before we move on, we kind of go through some steps of some things that people can do to become part of American Business Systems. Let's first talk about how you have, even here in the beginning, have try to help remove the first big hurdle, and that is, gosh, I could possibly go through training and still get my money back. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, yeah, the biggest fear that most people have, of course, is getting into a business that they don't know a whole lot about, and then realizing that they made a mistake somewhere down the line. So I wanted to remedy that by just offering a money-back guarantee. Simple, it's very straightforward. There's no weasel words in our agreement. It just says that if you've gone through our training and in 30 days, for some reason you want your money back, just ask for it. And Eric, we've done that. You know that we've actually given some people their money back. It's not that this is one of those things that we have to worry about, though, as a company, because we know what we have to offer. And we know that most people love what we have and don't even think about this once they've gotten into our training. But if for some reason you think there's anything about this business you didn't like, just ask for your money back. That's pretty simple. You can't go wrong there.
Absolutely. Patrick, before we get into these last few slides here, I'm going to ask those that are on the webinar today. First of all, Patrick's going to give you a copy of his book, which is great. But I'm going to ask you, for those that are on the webinar, just type in yes or no. And here's the question. Have you seen a demo of the iClaim EMRX system? So just type in the Q&A area, say yes if you have, no if you haven't. Now, come on, there we go. Okay, we got one there.
Oh, good. Yeah.
We got no, no. Okay, we got a couple of no's. Tamara.
Yes.
Okay, there's a yes. All right, good. Not yet. We're doing one next week. Good. All right, good. All right. So, folks, good. So, for those of you who haven't seen the demo, please go get with your rep and go do it. It's such a vital, important part of you helping you make your decisions. So, Patrick, let's talk about the next steps here. Well, let's talk about this first one here.
Yeah, we have 6 steps that you can go through, folks, if you want to engage with us and find out more about this. You notice we don't do a lot of selling on these webinars because we really don't have anything to sell, except we want you to be sold on yourself, being a business owner, of course. So the first thing is a research guide. We have a 60-page PDF, full color, downloadable research guide. You can get that only by asking for it. We only want the people who are very serious about this. This has got information that's not on our website, of course, at all. Absolutely. So just ask for that guide, the research guide. Then browse the YouTube channel. I mentioned that earlier. There it is right there in print, youtube.com/YABS. Folks, we have over 150 videos out there over the years that we've posted out there. And many of them are, an hour long. You can browse through them, zip through them if you want to, speed them up, make Eric sound like he's Minnie Mouse if you want to, and listen to it at high speed.
Absolutely.
And anyway, that'll be a very good thing to do. Then we have references. Yeah, if you want to talk to some of the people, even some of the ones I showed on the screen the other day or a while ago, some of our coaches, you can ask for a reference list, and we'll send that to you with people's phone numbers and email addresses and things that they, ways to contact them, and they'll talk to you about it. Oh, lots of questions coming in there, Eric, or questions.
Yeah, I was, these were some of the yes and no's. Matter of fact, talking about the live demo, Anita says, yes, but I would love a refresher though. I would certainly highly recommend, again, a good refresher because you can't see it enough, even before you make your decision. I know that it's a great help for anybody, especially me, whenever I was first getting started. It was always great to have that demo. Talk to me about the purchase agreement, Patrick.
Yeah, the purchase agreement is real simple. It's 4 pages long, folks. It's not very detailed. It's not I should say legalese. It's very easy and straightforward. I want to make sure my attorneys wrote it so it's very understandable to anybody who wants to read it. And you don't have to dig through 45 pages of, franchise documents and so forth. That's one of the reasons I decided to license this instead of franchise it. But anyway, those have all been worked out. We'll send those to you. You can review those. It'll also tell you about how to fund your license if you haven't got the funding put together yet. So just ask for that, and we'll give you again the email address and the phone number here in just a second. Then just submit those agreements and funding and schedule your first training session. Now, folks, I mentioned earlier, this is done with a live person, so you'll be able to talk to that instructor live on the phone or on a Zoom, and you'll be able to set up with them the schedule fitting your schedule. When do you want to be trained? We'll work that into your schedule as best as we can. Now, those seats in those trainings are getting pretty tight right now, Eric. As you knew, we had a lot of people sign up towards the end of the year, and then of course, even right here during January. So if you want to get into one of those and make sure that you get it in as quickly as possible and get started, you got to get all these steps done. So folks, just take them one at a time and tell us if you need help with any one of them.
You bet. I'm going to put them all up over here in our 800 number, 866-565-8413. If you want to get together and schedule that demo, give your representative a call right now and they'll help you, or email them at info@absystems.com. Patrick.